Why would you give up your goal now?
My goal was always a box at the academy.
At the Met, you'll be a founding member, and you can reign supreme. You don't need to be in Mrs. Astor's shadow.
You make a good case.
It's your case. I'm just repeating it.
Season 4 picks up right where we left off, with Bertha standing at the very center of New York society, outwardly triumphant, but privately shaken to her core. On the surface, she has everything. Her daughter Gladys happily married and expecting her first child, her own name carved into the very fabric of high society, and her rivals left scrambling in her shadow. But as we know all too well, appearances in this world are deceiving, and the cracks in Bertha's perfect facade are starting to widen. George's shocking confession in the finale that he no longer knows if he loves her will cast a dark cloud over every move Bertha makes in the new season. For the first time in the series, Bertha's unstoppable rise may face a challenge that cannot be solved with wealth, influence, or grand balls. It will be a battle of the heart, and Bertha may find herself forced to choose between the power she's built and the man who once stood proudly by her side. The suspense lies in how far she will go to repair what's broken, and whether George even wants it repaired at all. His bitter resentment over her ruthless ambition and the way she married off their daughter for status will hang heavy in every scene. Imagine Bertha, the woman who could charm dukes and queens, now scrambling to win back the affections of her own husband. But this is Bertha we're talking about, and surrender is not in her vocabulary. Instead, whispers suggest she will try to reshape her ambitions, to show George that he is still her greatest prize, even as a dangerous new rival for his affection threatens to undo everything. The rumor of another woman, an unexpected and formidable figure entering George's orbit, adds fuel to the fire. This potential love interest could ignite Bertha's fiercest battle yet, one that doesn't take place in the ballroom or the drawing room, but inside her very marriage. And the cruel twist? Bertha may have no choice but to endure this rivalry while planning another wedding, this time for her son. It means she and George will be forced into constant proximity, working together while privately pulling further apart, their every glance carrying the weight of betrayal and desperation. And if you think George will simply let go of the assassination attempt that nearly ended his life last season, think again. His obsession with uncovering the identity of the shooter will take him down dangerous roads, opening doors to new enemies and reviving old grudges. The closer George gets to the truth, the more peril he will invite, and the more isolated Bertha will feel, trying to hold on to a marriage that's slipping like sand through her fingers. For viewers, this creates a delicious tension. Will the Russells emerge stronger together, or will their empire crumble from within? While Bertha and George dominate the spotlight with their fractured marriage, another storyline that will demand our full attention in Season 4 is the growing romance between Dr. William Kirkland and Peggy. For years, Peggy's life has been defined by hardship, betrayal, and endless struggle to claim her rightful place in society, and finally, at the close of Season 3, we saw her rewarded with a moment of pure joy, a proposal that was as public as it was defiant. William dropped to one knee in front of the entire Black Newport society, under the watchful eye of his cold and intimidating mother, and Peggy accepted with a radiant confidence that showed just how far she has come since we first met her. But if you thought their love story would be smooth sailing from here, think again. Season 4 will test Peggy in ways we've never seen before. William's mother, who has already made it painfully clear that she views Peggy as unworthy of her son, is about to become the biggest obstacle in their path to happiness. She will stop at nothing to sabotage the union, whether through manipulation, whispers of scandal, or outright interference. Imagine a woman with wealth, influence, and a heart of stone using every trick at her disposal to pull Peggy away from William. This isn't just about love, it's about power, reputation, and control, and William's mother is not a woman who takes defeat lightly. What makes this storyline so thrilling is the contrast it provides. On one hand, we have Bertha Russell, a woman who has clawed her way into the upper echelons of society, fighting to save a marriage that might already be doomed. On the other, we have Peggy, finally finding the happiness and stability she deserves, but facing a mother-in-law who would rather destroy her than see her succeed. It's a perfect mirror, two women battling different but equally suffocating expectations of society. And it raises an important question. Will Peggy be forced to compromise her happiness for the sake of peace, or will she rise above and prove that love can endure even the harshest opposition? The suspense here lies not only in whether the wedding will happen, but how it will unfold. We already know weddings in the Gilded Age are never simple affairs. They are grand spectacles, full of politics, secrets, and rivalries simmering beneath the surface. For Peggy, this means her wedding could easily transform from a celebration into a battlefield, with William's mother pulling strings behind the scenes to humiliate her at every turn. But Peggy is not the same woman she once was. She has faced loss, betrayal, and tragedy, and each trial has hardened her resolve. In Season 4, we might finally see Peggy claim her rightful power, not just as William's wife-to-be, but as a force in her own right. Still, the threat remains real, and fans should prepare for heartbreak, betrayal, and at least one shocking twist in their love story. Because if there's one thing the Gilded Age never allows its characters, it's uncomplicated happiness. Every moment of light is followed by shadow, and Peggy's radiant joy may very well invite the darkest storm yet. If Peggy and William's romance brings a much-needed glow to the story, Oscar's choices drag us right back into the darkness, and in Season 4, his decisions could unleash chaos on the entire social order of New York. Let's not forget that Oscar, always desperate to secure a position for himself, ended Season 3 by aligning with one of the most dangerous figures in the show, Mrs. Winterton. Once a maid and now a scheming social climber, she is the kind of woman who thrives on ambition, spite, and the art of manipulation. The mere fact that Oscar would even consider tying his fortunes to hers feels shocking, but it also reveals just how reckless and desperate he has become. This alliance, if it holds, could be catastrophic not just for Oscar, but for the Russells and everyone around them. Think about it. Oscar has always been portrayed as someone who flirts with ruin, but this time he may have crossed the line from foolish to outright self-destructive. By giving Mrs. Winterton legitimacy and power, he has essentially armed one of Bertha's fiercest rivals with new influence, and that spells nothing but trouble. Rumors are already swirling that Mrs. Winterton's long-standing obsession with Bertha's status will escalate into something much more sinister this season. With Oscar at her side, she now has the credibility and access to challenge Bertha in ways she never could before. And here's where things get even more twisted. Whispers suggest that Mrs. Winterton may once again set her sights on George Russell, reviving her old fantasies of replacing Bertha in both society and marriage. Just imagine the level of betrayal that would bring, not only for Bertha, who is already struggling to hold her family together, but also for Oscar, who would have effectively handed his worst enemy the keys to his own destruction. It's the kind of tangled drama that makes the Gilded Age so addictive. Alliances formed in desperation, rivalries sharpened into personal vendettas, and the constant reminder that in this world, ambition often leads to ruin. And the stakes for Oscar are higher than ever. If his gamble with Mrs. Winterton backfires, he risks not only his reputation, but also the stability of the very society he depends on. Remember, Oscar's world is built on appearances, and once the cracks begin to show, there is no turning back. What makes this storyline especially suspenseful is that we, as the audience, can already see the trap closing around him. We know Mrs. Winterton cannot be trusted, we know she has no loyalty to anyone but herself, and we know Oscar's arrogance blinds him to these truths. It's like watching a carriage race toward the edge of a cliff. You can see the disaster coming, but you can't look away. And while all of this drama unfolds, another powerful player remains in the wings, Agnes. She has always been the iron-willed matriarch, the one woman capable of cutting through deception with a single sharp remark. Season 4 may very well force Agnes to confront Mrs. Winterton head-on, not just to protect her household, but to preserve the balance of society itself. Agnes's disdain for pretenders has never been a secret, and Mrs. Winterton's rise will almost certainly provoke her into action. So the question becomes, will Agnes be able to stop Oscar and Mrs. Winterton from dragging everyone into ruin? Or will she find herself fighting a battle even she cannot win? Either way, this storyline is set to be one of the most explosive threads of the new season. Betrayal, ambition, jealousy, and obsession, all the ingredients for disaster are here, and we can be certain that Season 4 will pull no punches when it comes to showing just how destructive these alliances can be. Of course, no discussion of Season 4 would be complete without diving into the slow-burn romance that has kept viewers holding their breath since the very beginning. Marion and Larry Russell. After a season filled with hesitation, misunderstandings, and emotional distance, the two finally reconciled in Season 3, offering fans a glimpse of hope in a world where love so often bends under the weight of ambition and status. Their reunion felt like a breath of fresh air, a counterpoint to the heartbreak unraveling all around them. But make no mistake, this is the Gilded Age, and nothing is ever simple. Season 4 will put their love to the test in new and surprising ways, and the stakes could not be higher. For one, their long-awaited wedding is set to become the centerpiece of the entire season, but if you're expecting a quick trip to the altar, prepare for disappointment. Rumors strongly suggest that the wedding will not take place until the season finale, which means we will be forced to endure an entire season of anticipation, tension, and drama surrounding their union. On the surface, this sounds frustrating, but in reality, it's a brilliant storytelling choice because it allows us to see not just the glamour of their romance, but also the challenges that come with blending two powerful families. For Larry, marrying Marion means aligning her closely with Bertha, a mother whose every move is calculated to protect and expand her family's influence. And for Marion, it means walking a tightrope between independence and duty, as she strives to carve out a life with Larry while still resisting the suffocating expectations of society. What's especially exciting about this storyline is Bertha's rumored change of heart toward Marion. Instead of treating her with suspicion or disdain, as she has done in the past, Bertha may finally recognize the value of embracing Marion as an ally rather than a threat. Imagine Bertha, in the midst of her crumbling marriage, finding solace in building a genuine bond with her future daughter-in-law. It would be a surprising twist, one that adds emotional depth to Bertha's character while giving Marion the support she has long deserved. Their friendship could become one of the most compelling dynamics of the new season, a rare partnership built on mutual respect rather than rivalry. But don't think for a second that this means smooth sailing for Marion and Larry. Wedding preparations in the world of the Gilded Age are never just about flowers and guest lists. They are about power, politics, and appearances, and every decision, from the guest list to the venue, has the potential to ignite conflict. And with George and Bertha's marriage hanging by a thread, the wedding could easily become a stage for hidden resentments to boil over. Picture George and Bertha standing side by side as proud parents, while beneath the surface, their relationship fractures further with every forced smile. Add to this the ever-present gossip of New York society, and it becomes clear that Marion and Larry's wedding will be less about love and more about survival, for them, for their families, and for the fragile alliances holding this glittering world together. And yet, despite all the chaos, fans can't help but root for Marion and Larry. Their love has always felt like a quiet rebellion against the cynicism of their world, a reminder that genuine connection is still possible amid the endless scheming. Whether they will actually make it down the aisle without disaster remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: their storyline will provide both the emotional heart and the dramatic fireworks of Season 4, keeping us glued to every moment as we wait for the inevitable climax. Now that we've unraveled the tangled romances, betrayals, and alliances waiting for us in Season 4, the question on everyone's mind is when exactly we'll get to step back into the glittering, treacherous world of the Gilded Age. Luckily, unlike other shows that leave fans waiting years between seasons, this series has proven surprisingly steady with its release schedule. Season 1 premiered in January 2022, Season 2 followed in October 2023, and then Season 3 arrived in June 2025. If HBO sticks to this pattern, Season 4 could be expected around late 2026, with September being the strongest possibility. This pace keeps the excitement alive while giving the cast and crew enough time to craft the lavish sets, intricate costumes, and layered storytelling that make this show feel so immersive. But the wait won't just be about time. It will also be filled with speculation, rumors, and behind-the-scenes teases that will keep fans buzzing. And HBO knows exactly what it has on its hands here. The renewal announcement for Season 4 didn't come after the finale. It came immediately following Episode 6 of Season 3. That level of confidence speaks volumes. According to HBO executives, the show has not only maintained strong viewership, but has actually been growing steadily, with Season 3 hitting new highs in ratings week after week. In fact, HBO revealed that premiere night viewing jumped by more than 20% compared to Season 2, and 2 consecutive weeks broke the series' all-time record. That kind of momentum is rare, especially for a period drama, and it proves that the Gilded Age has transformed from a risky experiment into one of HBO's crown jewels. The audience isn't just watching, it's expanding, which means Season 4 will be under even greater pressure to deliver. And deliver it will, because Julian Fellowes and his team know exactly how to raise the stakes. Season 3 ended with Bertha's grand ball and the powerful line, "The future belongs to America." That wasn't just a statement about the characters, it was a promise to the audience. The new season will explore who truly holds the future in their hands, and who will be left behind in the dust of progress. Will Bertha remain the reigning queen of New York society, or will her rivals finally find the cracks in her armor? Will George discover the truth about the man who tried to kill him, or will his obsession with vengeance cost him everything he's built? Will Peggy and William's love conquer his mother's cruelty, or will tragedy once again rip happiness from Peggy's grasp? And will Marion and Larry's long-awaited wedding give us the fairy tale ending we've been yearning for, or will it turn into yet another battlefield where love and ambition collide? These are the questions Season 4 will answer, and the suspense lies in knowing that not every character will emerge victorious. Because that is the brilliance of the Gilded Age. It dazzles us with luxury and romance, only to remind us that beneath the gilded surface lies ruthlessness, betrayal, and heartbreak. And that's why we keep coming back. Because in this world, triumph and tragedy walk hand in hand, and one never exists without the other. So, as we count down the months until the new season, one thing is clear. The stakes have never been higher, the drama has never been richer, and the suspense has never been sharper. The Gilded Age Season 4 is set to be the most thrilling chapter yet, and I, for one, cannot wait to see who rises, who falls, and who dares to reach for a future that may or may not belong to them. Until then, let the speculation begin.